March 5th, 1863. The arm of the slaves is the best defense against the arm of the slaveholder. Who would be free themselves must strike the blow. I urge you to fly to arms and smite with death the power that would bury the government and your liberty in the same hopeless grave. This is our golden opportunity. Frederick Douglass.
The colored population is the great available and yet unavailed of force for restoring the Union. The bare sight of 50,000 armed and drilled black soldiers upon the banks of the Mississippi would end the rebellion at once. And who doubts that we can present that sight if we but take hold in earnest? Abraham Lincoln.
The people most affected by the Emancipation Proclamation obviously did not receive it as news because they knew before Lincoln knew that the war was about emancipation. And moreover, they knew, as perhaps Lincoln did without fully realizing it, and certainly as many people today do not realize, that the Emancipation Proclamation did nothing to get them their freedom. It said that they had a right to go and put their bodies on the line if they had the nerve to believe in it. And many of them had the nerve to believe in it, and many suffered for that.
To Lincoln, it was now clear that harsher measures were needed to destroy the Confederacy. He called for more troops, and in February, pushed a conscription act through Congress. The Emancipation Proclamation had already authorized the arming of freed slaves.
As to the politics of Washington, the most striking thing is the absence of personal loyalty to the president. It does not exist. He has no admirers, no enthusiastic supporters, no one to bet on his head.
The fall elections had not gone well. Fredericksburg only made matters worse, and in Washington, talk of the disaster was everywhere. "If there is a worse place than hell," Lincoln told a visitor, "I am in it."
The single most unpopular act of Lincoln's administration was the Emancipation Proclamation. It not only was horribly unpopular in the Confederacy, where Jefferson Davis called it the most wicked thing that the dark side of humankind had ever come up with, but millions of Northerners responded to it as well. They did not really want a great many Northerners did not want the war to be changed to a war for slave liberation.
Opposition to the war was spreading, especially among Democrats in the heartland. Michigan, Ohio, Iowa, Indiana, and the southern half of Lincoln's own Illinois. The proclamation ignited an anti-war movement in the North. All but 35 men of the 138th Illinois deserted over emancipation, declaring they would lie in the woods until moss grew on their backs, rather than help free the slaves. Groups with names like the Knights of the Golden Circle and Sons of Liberty met in secret and muttered of forcing an end to the war. Their enemies called them Copperheads, and they wore on their lapels the head of liberty, snipped from a copper penny. Their leader was Congressman Clement Vallandigham of Ohio. Lincoln had him thrown in jail and later banished to the Confederacy.
"You have not conquered the South. You never will. War for the Union was abandoned, war for the Negro openly begun, and with stronger battalions than before. With what success? Let the dead at Fredericksburg answer."
All of these things bore in on him, plus the fact that the South had a strong army and a good leadership and was... But then he would pick up a Richmond newspaper and he'd say, "Here's what they're saying about Jeff Davis down here. I don't look so bad," because the South had a free press too, and he realized, that Jeff was not doing any better than he was as far as they were concerned.